Well, so now if we want to delete a particular record, what we can do is we can say delete from customer, and if we want to actually delete all the records, then we can say delete from customer. But we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to delete a particular record. So what we can say, delete from customer where id is equal to 5. I select the query, I execute it, and again I get a message saying one row is affected. Now it means that one row has been affected, and in this context one row has been deleted. Again, how do we check that? Yes, that's perfect. In order to do that, we would select the customer. We would say select star from customer. I selected, I executed, and here we can see Jim has been deleted. The record for Jim has been deleted. Okay. Now, if we want to actually count the number of records, so what we can do is we can say select count star. Since count is a function, so we say count and then we say parenthesis, and in that we say star from customer. So I select the query, I execute it, and here I get the count. This is the number of records. Again, we can give a name to this function. We can say count customer and execute it. So we get a column name out here. That's the way we get a count. Okay. Now, once again, let's select the data for customer. Now we have this table, okay, and suppose we want to back up this table. Now what do we mean by that? We want to do some, for some reason we want to take a backup of this table. That is, we want to create another table from this table, and we want to keep it for a backup purpose. So what we can do is we can say select star into customer, maybe back or backup rather, from customer. So now what this would do, this would actually take the customer table and back it up into a new table known as customer backup. Okay, now suppose we only want to create the structure of the table and we do not want to insert all the records from the customer table to customer backup. What I mean is we don't want all the customer tables records to be copied into customer backup. I just need only structure. Then I need to specify a condition, and that condition has to be a false condition. So I can say where 1 is equal to 2. As we all know that 1 is not equal to 2. So what this would do, this would actually create a customer backup table from customer table, but essentially it would actually not insert any record. It would just create a blank table. So I select the query, I execute it, and it says 0 rows affected. The reason is that no records has been copied or inserted. So how do we check it? That's again correct. We would say select star from customer backup, and I select this query, I execute it. So we get that we have the column ID, column name, column city, and column amount in this table, but actually no records has been copied into this table. Now let's say we would say select star into a new table, maybe I name it as customer copy from customer table, and this time I will not specify any condition as I did it earlier. So now what this would do, yes, that's correct, it would actually take all the records from customer table and it would copy or it would dump all the data into customer copy table. Okay, that is because we are not specifying any condition. Had we specified any condition, it would actually copied only the records which would satisfy the condition, or if we say specify any false condition, then it would not copy any records. But here in this case, we are actually copying the records from customer table to a new table customer copy. Importantly, this table name can be anything. It might be customer backup, it could be customer copy, or whatever table we want as we desire. So let me select this query and execute it, and what it says, 4 records affected. Now what does that mean? In customer copy table, 4 records has been affected. So actually in this context, 4 records has been inserted into customer copy table. Now how do I check it? Yes, I need to select the data. So I would say select star from customer copy, and I select this query, I execute this query, and that's cool. We get all the data which was present in customer table. That data has been copied into customer copy table. That's cool. Well, so now let's have a look at joins. Now what is a join, you might be thinking. Now join is something using which we can actually join two tables. It means we can join two related tables. Now what do we mean by related tables? Like assume a scenario, we have two tables and they are related with each other. For example, we might have a customer table and we might have a product table. Of course, in customer table, we would have customer details, and in product tables, we would have product details. So, accordingly, now suppose in the customer table, we have a product ID, wherein in product table also we have a product ID. So we can actually relate, rather join these two tables on the basis of the common column, that is product ID. So the expectation out here is whatever values are there in product table's product ID has to be present in customer table's product ID. So now let's see how do we join two tables. Now if I want to see data from customer, suppose I want to see select and customer name. So I would say select customer name from customer. And if I select it, I execute it. Sorry, there is no customer name. There is a name field in the customer table. So we got the name out here. Okay. Alternatively, if we wanted to see all the columns, then we would say star. Now this was the basics, right? So now let me say I want to see, sorry, I want to actually use over here my customer table. So if I say select star from my customer, I would get the records for the my customer table. So out here, what I need is I need customer name. So I would say select customer name from my customer. So it is obvious that we would get the customer name from the my customer table. Along with that, what I need is I need the details from the product table as well. So now how do we do that? So there is where join comes into picture. So I need to say inner join. Now which table I want to join? It is none other than product table. Okay. And now let me give an alias to my customer table. I would call it as A, and or rather M, and P for product table. So now P is a variable in which we have a product table or alias for product table. Similarly, M is the alias for my customer table. Now, in order to join these two tables, another important thing which I need to mention is on. On means on which columns I would join this table. So I would join customer table, sorry, my customer table, my customer table's product ID with products ID. I can of course change it here to alias. Okay. So now if I see and if I select this query and if I say execute, I get the customer name. However, the important thing for which we are using join is to get the data from both the tables. So apart from customer table, I can get the data for maybe price, maybe product name, and maybe price of the product. Now when I select the query, I execute it. Sorry, there is no name. So I can say p.name. If I execute, let's check the column out here. In product, we have product name. Sorry about that. So I would say and here we go. For some reason, SQL's intelligence was not working well. However, we have achieved what we needed. So what we needed actually, we needed customer name from the customer table, we needed product name from the product table, we needed price from the product table. So here you see we have actually joined these two tables, that is my customer and product. And then the thing is, in order to see the columns, you have to directly mention all the column names which you require. So you would say select respective column 1, column 2, and so on, whichever columns are required. Then we would say from our table name, so that is my customer, and then we would join it by saying inner join and another table, that is product in this case, and we would give an alias to both of them. And then we have to importantly mention on we would say my customer dot product id equal to product dot id. As you remember, in the beginning we said like product's ID value has to match with my customer's product ID. Therefore, when we select this and we execute, we get the data. We get customer name once again from my customer table, product name from product table, and price from the product table. And that is the way we can actually join two tables and get the data. Hope that makes clear. Okay, now let's understand what is a stored procedure. Now we have seen till now that we issue queries and we get the result of that out of those queries. So now what is a stored procedure? Now stored procedure is kind of a routine wherein inside the procedure we define our queries. Those queries are actually compiled and it gets executed. So the benefit of that is the operation is faster since the results of the query is into SQL's cache, or in simple words it is in SQL's memory. So let's see how do we create a stored procedure. So in order to do that we need to say create procedure, name of the procedure. Let me name it as get all products because we want to get all the products. and then I would say as begin end, and inside this I would have my query. So this is a pretty simple stored procedure wherein I need all the products. So I would say select star from product, and then I would execute it, and it says command completed successfully. That means the procedure is created successfully. Now, very important thing is how do we execute this procedure? So in order to execute the procedure, we need to say execute and the procedure name. So my procedure name is get all products. So I would say the query execute get all products. I would select this query and I would click execute. So here we go. We get the results. What we get is we get all the products. So this was a very simple example of product, or rather a stored procedure to get all the products. Now let's see an example wherein we can pass in a parameter to a procedure. Now let's say create procedure get product by products by name. Now you need to note that this procedure name can be anything, whichever you desire is the most appropriate one. So here again I would say as begin and end, and here we need a parameter. So I would say the parameter would be starting with at the rate, and I would say maybe name and the type of the parameter, varchar, and maybe the length of the parameter. Now you would be thinking, what is a parameter? Now parameter is something which we would pass to the stored procedure, and against that parameter we would check a particular value. It would be more clear when we put in the query out here. So I would say select star from product where product name is equal to. Now instead of specifying the value for a product name out here, we would say at the rate name. Now that is nothing but it would be any dynamic value supplied by the user. So on the basis of this particular parameter value, we would get the result for the product. Hope it makes clear. So that is the reason in the procedure we are declaring a parameter, and for that parameter we give a data type. So for here the parameter is name, parameter name is at the rate name, and parameter data type is varchar, that is variable character. So from our query, we say select star from product, since we need all the columns from the product, where product name should be equal to a value, and that value is nothing but our own parameter. So now let's create this stored procedure, select it, execute it, and it says commands completed successfully. That means the procedure has been created. Now how do we execute it? Once again, we need to say execute, we say the procedure name, and now the thing out here additional is we need to give the parameter value. So it would be a name. So now since it is a character, so we need to put it in quotation mark, and then we may say any product name. So let's say TV, and let's execute it. Select it and execute it, and here we go. We get the details for the product name TV. Now this value has been supplied by us or maybe by any user. Now similarly, if we say laptop, and since we know that laptop is a value in our product table, we select it, we execute it, we get the details for that particular product. So hope that it makes clear that how is a procedure created with the parameter. Okay.